Welcome to the Wellness in Asheville podcast, where we shine a light on the people, practices, and places that make this city one of the most inspiring wellness communities in the country. I'm your host, Travis Richardson, founder of Be Well Asheville, your local news source for health, wellness, and community events. All right, today's guest is Brynn Barale, a registered nurse, health coach, and 18-year breast cancer thriver. Through her work at Wildflower Health Coaching, Brynn helps women cancer survivors move beyond overwhelm, reconnect with their bodies, and reclaim a vibrant life rooted in confidence, clarity, and healing. She also hosts a weekly community Reiki and healing circle for women navigating life after cancer. And wow, I was actually surprised at my reaction to meeting Brynn and then just being in her presence, because I just feel so humbled. I don't know why, but like when people have been through things like what she has with cancer and have come out the other side, and then they go on to sort of embody that experience and be able to teach others through what they've embodied and the knowledge and the wisdom that they've gained. I don't have stories like that myself. And although I've coached people for decades, I've had a gym where I had tons of fitness-minded folks looking to lose weight and be healthier. I haven't myself been through such a thing like cancer and then come out the other side to teach people. And I feel like this makes this episode and Brynn very special. And I encourage all the listeners here, if you know somebody struggling with especially a woman struggling with breast cancer or going through that process of maybe they're getting ready to go through chemo, or maybe they're they're just trying to get their life back together after having went through a procedure or a process, which is what Brynn's real specialty is sort of that post healing, reclaiming your body and owning the new figure that you are in, the new body that you're in, and being proud of it. Then forward this on to that particular woman or person interested in learning more about this work, because I think it's so important. Without further ado, let's just get right in and hear it straight from Brynn. So today we have Brynn Barale here to speak on how to live a kick-ass life after cancer, and more specifically breast cancer. Welcome to the show, Brynn. How are you feeling tonight?
Hey, I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You definitely wanted to have you on. So, there's so many different kinds of health coaches out there, but I've never really seen one who specifically works at such a niched down clientele with it, which is women who are trying to reclaim their bodies and their lives, have more energy, all this, that's so sometimes really, really hard to take that first step after going through breast cancer. So I was just really I just can't wait to pick your brain today.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure we'll dive into that, but that's precisely why I do what I do, is because this was missing in life.
I think that's where the most success comes, is when you find that gap that isn't being filled. So kudos to you. The obvious place to start is, I know you are 18 years survived. So tell me about your journey and then how you decided to make a coaching program out of that.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2006, so quite a while ago. I was 26 years old when I was diagnosed, so I was definitely not the norm for that. I often would go to my treatments, which were here in Western North Carolina. And I was typically the youngest one there. Got lots of looks of, oh, she must be here with her grandmother, right? And then I'd be the one sitting in the chemo chair, and it was like, oh, wait, what's going on, right? And I found that as my treatment was wrapping up and life was going back, quote unquote, to normal, which is what I was wishing for. It was like counting down the chemos, counting down the radiation, right? And being like, okay. And then that day finally came and was wrapping things up and I didn't have to go to the doctor for like a month, which, was a really long time. And I was like, oh, yay, I'm going to go back and live life again. And I was like wrecked, right? Treatment wrecked my body. It took a really heavy toll mentally on me. I was really depressed and I would bring it up at doctor's appointments like, hey, I'm just not feeling like myself. Oh, that's normal. You'll feel better soon. It's the
Mm.
whole thing. And I mean, in my opinion, I like wallowed in that depression and not feeling like myself for too long because everybody kept telling me it was normal, which it is normal, but nobody was helping me like feel better, except for if I wanted to take another prescription, which I was not. Like I was already had maxed out myself, and I was like, yeah, that's not the answer. There has to be something else. And so slowly through my own reading books and watching documentaries and diving into research, I found myself like finding what made me feel good. And it was like, oh, this is actually pretty easy. But I wanted it to be some complicated system. Um, and so because of my own struggle in survivorship is why I do what I do. Because if I could help even just one woman not have to struggle in survivorship after breast cancer, then I'm like, I've checked my box, right? But of
Mhm.
course, I help more than that, more than one person, maybe one person at a time. But um, so yeah, so it's kind of what led me into health coaching, which then once I started that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna work with cancer survivors. Like, duh,
It just makes sense,
And
right?
yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense on multiple levels. I mean, I too normalize the struggle that my clients are going through, but also I'm like, okay, and here's some things that we can do to help make the struggle better, right? Make less of a struggle. That's
It's impossible to understand somebody perfectly because we're not them. It's hard enough to understand our own selves. But if you're going to have your best chances for like feeling connected and feeling like somebody gets you, it's going to be to surround yourself with other women who are going through the same thing. I just have this sense that you provide such a supportive community. First of all, let's back up. You're a registered nurse. You also are a holistic health coach. And I know you do Reiki and you work with energy. So you have like this wide skill set, wide variety of skills that you have to offer. What do you think women need the most?
so a lot of women come to me really confused with how to feed themselves. Because I mean, I think I'm so thankful for many things, but I think of my survivorship years in, 2006, like let's say 2006 to even 2010, right? Yeah, sure. There you could Google things, but social media was not like it was. You didn't go there for like nutrition advice or things like that.
Mhm.
So, I'm thankful for that. But I see the amount of information that is just thrown at people anymore. And it's eat this, don't eat that. Oh, make sure you don't eat this with that and blah, blah. It's just like all these things and all these labels that we can put on everything, right? So
Right.
a lot of people come to me really confused about like what to eat. Like, I've seen this and I've done that and, all these things because unfortunately, I mean, society as a whole for America, diet has always been, the whatever fad diet that's going on at the moment, right?
Mhm.
So that is one thing that I start with. I'd like to say is like to take away the overwhelm with what to eat and like go back to the basics and like we don't have to put a label on being vegan or vegetarian or gluten free or whatever it is, right? It's like let's just get back to the basics and let's find the food that makes you feel good and let's focus on that. And then once we get that ball rolling and I've made it easy, like that's my goal is to make things easy. So once we've made things easy and like that is, you're feeling good again, then I'd say like the magic, if I had a magic wand, right? It would be like to work on the mindset of
Hmm.
survivorship and the mindset shifts around your body image. And it's not about loving your body, right? Like that is a big ask. But if you could be neutral with your body and be neutral with the changes to your body, whether from surgery or maybe a medically induced menopause or being on an antidepressant, right? All these things that change your body composition. If we can just feel neutral about them, like that's a huge win.
Mm.
Um, but I'd say that most people don't come to me for that. They want to they know they want to feel better and have more energy and sleep better, but that how they're going to get there is not always black and white. So I use
Yeah.
the gray area to my advantage.
No, that's exactly. Initially, when people come to you, a lot of times they're looking for information, and they think that that you have this magic, somehow this magic formula, and then of course we don't. There's not like I don't have a magic formula. I can't wave a wand, give you information that somehow is going to magically change you. But what I can do is deeply listen to you, and I
Mhm.
can help you when you fall off the track that that you're on as an accountability partner. Uh,
Yes.
and so I guess I'm just reflecting back on what you said is that it's not always just there's a ton of information out there, but it takes like somebody who's deeply compassionate, who's been there, who understands the kind of changes that you're going through. And that I think is, don't you think that's where the change happens? Is that really like that empathetic soul that just listens and like is there for you, and they got you and they care about you. They just give a shit.
Mhm. Yeah, it gave me chills to even hear that because you're right. That is like part of it is to have someone who listens to you, is willing to help problem solve, is not going to feed you more lines of bullshit, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm not that, but also to be able to walk through the process of making changes, whether, with the things that you're doing day to day and making mistakes and having birthday parties and all the things to
Hmm.
go to, right? It's like, and then having that safety net of, okay, well, I know that, all the things that have happened this week. I mean, like for instance, right now I have a lot of clients. They're suddenly empty nesters and their kids are going away to
Hmm.
college and they are like, I hear the same thing from different people about how they're feeling. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, can we get you all together in a room
Yeah.
so that you
Yeah.
know that you're not
Right.
alone?
Right.
Right. And it's like, it has nothing to even do with cancer, but it's what you're experiencing. And that's why, I have a lot of people who will come to me and I'll talk to them and, they are wanting to become a client and they're like, oh, but now's not the right time because I have this going on and that going on and I'm so busy. And it's like, actually, that's the perfect time.
Hmm.
Because, well, there is no perfect time, but that is the better time because when you have the travel and you have all these changes going on, I will be there, like, to help you be accountable, to guide you, support, listen to you, to, maybe find I work with people individually as well as in small groups. So it's like we feel in these group conversations that a lot of us are all going through the same thing at the same time, even though we live these completely separate lifestyles,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Completely in different countries, even my clients are, and we're all experiencing the same thing. It's like, this is really, really beneficial that we all are here, having these communications and working through stuff together.
Yeah.
Um, and it's fun to see that evolution too, where it's not all focused on breast cancer, right? We start living life and experiencing life again, and that becomes the our own barrier. Right? It's like,
Right.
okay. And it's beautiful. It's really honestly like, I sometimes I like have to stop myself and be like, really? This is really what I get to do every day? Like, this is so awesome, because, yeah. And how do I want to say this? This is also why I offer groups, is because I want to make it be more affordable so that more women can experience this. I don't want this to be some, upper class, high echelon thing that people that you're out of touch with. Like, oh, I could never have a health coach, right? And I'm like, well,
Right.
actually, let's talk about how we could have you have a health coach, like, so,
I, yeah,
yeah.
I think the energy of a group can be sometimes even more healing than one-on-ones to some degree. And also there's relationships that get formed in those groups that then go off and become new one-on-ones, informal
Yes.
one-on-ones, right?
Yeah, I love that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna steal that. That's so
there you go.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they do. They talk amongst
Yeah.
themselves when we're not having our Zoom
Right.
sessions.
I was listening to you have a number of videos on Instagram with Flow with Chrissy Florio is her Instagram handle. And on one of them, I think she mentioned, like, I think the metaphor was walking somebody through the fires, walking through someone
Mhm.
through the fire. And I really just was like, ooh, that gave me kind of some chills because that probably describes most accurately what it must feel like. Cancer is the most scary diagnosis we get as human beings. It is. I mean, it just is. And when you going through treatment, by the way, my dad passed a couple of years ago from cancer, and I watched how that all went down, and deep. I have deep sympathy, empathy, all of it for anybody who is struggling with that. Walking somebody through the fire after somebody's gotten the diagnosis and maybe they've gotten the treatment. I feel like the majority of the healing happens after the treatment. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean?
You are completely correct. And I say that a lot. I get invited to talk um, at a lot of different support groups here in the community. And that is one of the things that I often kind of end with is like, the healing is up to you. Like, it's not going to happen in the doctor's office. It's not going to happen no matter how much chemo you get or
Mm-hmm.
how much
Mm-hmm.
radiation treatments you get or how much surgery you get. Like, that is not healing. Like,
Beautiful.
sorry. Like,
Right.
that
That
is what the doctor can do, right? They can thank goodness there's people out there who can know what dose of chemo you need and how many treatments of radiation you need, right? We need that. But that's not going to be healing to your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. Like that is up to you.
Yeah, that is like, I think, really the main message is that, and honestly, healing in the if you think about healing happening in the mind and in the emotional body, the mental body, spiritual body, um, it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the outcome of the physical, which is great because it means that you're independent of what happens here in this physical. You are the real you is independent of this meat sack, for lack
Yep.
of better words, right? So it means so the outcome, of course, we want a favorable outcome. We want to live as long as
Hmm.
possible and as healthy for as long as possible. But that has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with the real healing that can happen, independent
Hmm.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. I say that a lot, right? We get to walk around these little meat suits all like,
Meat
and it's
suits.
like,
That's what I was thinking. I said meat sack. It's more of a
well,
meat suit.
same thing, but it's the same thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and like, how foreign is that, right? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you
Yeah.
think you're like, What is this thing that
Yeah.
we get to walk?" Like, who says, "What is this?"
I
It is
know.
like, and that is part of it, right? I think, a cancer diagnosis can get you thinking about things completely different. And I'm not saying you have to have cancer to think about things differently, right? But I can tell you
Mhm.
from my experience, like it helped me put things into perspective really well. Like traffic, no problem. I sat
Nothing.
there. I'd take
Right.
the long way home, roll down the windows, play
Mhm.
some good music, whatever. In line at the grocery store, you got like the impatient person behind you. I'm like, you're obviously in a hurry. Like, just go ahead of me. Like, it's going to make my life easier just letting you go ahead of me. Right. It was
Mhm.
stuff like that. And I was just like, where before I was always, like maybe uptight would be the right word. I don't know. Like, it just I didn't feel as free as I feel now. Like I
Mhm.
felt very much like in a little box, right? And now I'm like, box, you better not box. It was like to know that there are options. Like even, for instance, I when I was diagnosed, I was working in accounting as a public accountant, and because of my experience with the healthcare professionals in this town, I changed careers. I was like, I want to be a part of this. Like, I don't, this crunching numbers came really easily to me. Yeah, sure. It was a great way to make a living, but it wasn't like, I was like, this is not what I'm meant to do. So going back to nursing school, I would never even thought about that before
Mm.
cancer. Like
So
I would,
would you say you've lost some fear? Like,
yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you get, yeah, maybe more risk. You're willing to
Mhm.
accept more risk and just kind of be like, well, there I know for sure that there's only one life that I'm gonna be a part of right now. Maybe in the afterlife there's something fabulous too, but like right now this is all I know. So I'm
Mhm.
going to make this be something worth living. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let this pass me by.
Yeah, and when you're in the grocery store and you're letting the person go ahead of you, it's like I think of that as not instead of letting the your environment like tell you or control you as to what you're going to do, which is of course if you just got angry and upset, you've totally just become a victim and let the but
Right.
instead you are, the other way is to make your external environment be a reflection of your new inner state. So if you step aside, totally cool. Like you just go ahead. I'm not in a hurry. Like you just changed everything. Like changed
Mhm.
everything in the universe, right in your little local supermarket.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. Well, I think, and this is something else that I feel like I talk about all the time, but it's so true. It's like, there's really barely anything in your control, right? Like most things are out of
Hmm.
your control. Like, and
Yep.
you have to be comfortable with that.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. You don't know if the floor is going to give out from underneath you the next step you take. You don't know.
right. Like, you gotta be okay with that.
So yeah. So what are some practices, wellness practices, health practices? What are your favorite ways to take care of yourself?
Oh, so one of the big things that I have realized by working with, most of my clients are women. I do have a few men clients here and there, but I'm just going to categorize working with women is I have learned, and I think we can blame society. Well, I'm going to say that is that we don't prioritize sleep.
Mm,
And
true.
I have learned from working with people how when we are not prioritizing sleep, how it has this negative ripple effect on your health in general and the way you're feeling and even down to the food you're eating and how you respond when somebody's pushing their cart up behind you in the grocery store, right? Like all of the things. It's like I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, so, if we kind of got food drilled in and we're making that less overwhelming, then let's talk about sleep. Or maybe we start with sleep. It depends. But I have found that we have to squeeze so much more into our days than we did before. And the first thing to go is always sleep for most people. Like, oh, that's fine. I'll just go to bed later. Or, it's usually not wake up earlier.
So,
Let's
so
be
you
honest.
prioritize sleep. Do you do like any sleep hygiene stuff? How do you
Mhm.
how do you improve your sleep, or how do you honor your sleep?
Yeah. So naturally, right? All the things that we know, but we just don't do, right? So less screens before bed. If maybe you're even that sensitive, wearing blue light blocking glasses throughout the day, having a caffeine curfew, right? So most of us, people are like, oh, I'm not sensitive to caffeine. And I'm like, well, let's just try it. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe I was sensitive to caffeine, like just some things. And some people, just even the timing of taking medications and supplements can be disruptive to your sleep cycle. But I'd say that most of it comes down to just being intentional with the time, all the way from the time you wake up in the morning, right? Because that's what resets our clocks to sleep. It's not necessarily that 30 minutes before you put your head on the pillow. So it's just kind of
Mm,
looking at things throughout the day of what you're doing. Caffeine, like I said, maybe having some kind of an evening ritual where you have less screen time, and maybe you're reading a book, like an actual like paper book, like a paper book.
an actual what are those? I don't even know what that is.
I know, right? It's so funny, but people are like, a book? I'm like, yes, just start buying a book, like a real book. It's these simple things, but it really can make a big impact. And then if needed, if we need to bring in some supplements for a short period of time to kind of help, we can. But most people, once they start being aware of it and start prioritizing sleep, then, within a couple weeks, they're realizing the benefit of even going to bed a half hour earlier,
Right. I
right?
always
It's
think,
not like,
yeah, no, I totally agree, and I always find out. I always feel like that in our culture, because we're so pill driven, we have Western medicine has decided that everything is solved with a petroleum based capsule, right? And
mm-hmm,
because of that, though, when I coach people on any health and wellness topics, or uh, they ask me for advice, what should I take, this, that, or the other? They usually are talking about what kind of pill they should take. And what we're finding is it's actually such a small part of what you should be doing. In fact, like, if you look at all the research, some of the best research out there says that if you want to spend time doing something, it's work on your exercise. All the mental energy that we have, like figuring out what kind of magnesium we should take before bed. Like, okay, that's great to do. I mean, it's fun exercise, but like, it's a fun mental exercise, not to be confused with physical exercise. But if you really want to help yourself, work on your sleep, work on your stress, work your breathing, get a few good food choices dialed in, go for quality over quantity,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
put some time into working on your how you move your body.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so true. And this is that, how you can do one thing and it can positively affect other areas of your
Hmm.
life. And being physically active is definitely one of those things. Like, it really can. Now, as long as you're not like, being physically active like an hour before you're going to bed, most of
Hmm.
us, that's not the right timing for it. But it is easy, like, to just kinda, and then you've got, like, a twofer, right? You're being more physically active, and then you're gonna be sleeping better, and
Right.
then, maybe even a third part to that, then you're gonna have a more pleasant disposition throughout the day too. And I
Hmm.
I mean, that's the thing, I a lot of cancer survivorship is scary. I'm not gonna lie. You start feeling crappy and the doctor's like, "Oh, there's a pill for that." Okay, so you start
Hmm.
taking that, and then that causes other symptoms. "Oh, there's a pill to take care of that." And then before you know it, you're on 5 or 6 different things, and that's what a lot of people come to me, and it's like, and they're like, "I don't wanna be on these things." but I have to, because otherwise I can't function. And it's like, okay.
Hmm.
And, I have a lot of really successes that I celebrate. And one of them is, if you don't want to be on the 5 or 6 medications and they're not needed, then let's work with your doctor to get you off of those things. And a lot of them are sleep aids. I guess that's why I'm
Hmm.
talking about this, right? A lot of those things eventually lead up to a sleep aid that was probably supposed to be used for like 90 days, maybe while you were in the thick of treatment. And then here, 2 years later, you're still on it because nobody ever told you that you could stop taking it, or you're afraid to stop taking it.
Right,
Um,
right.
it's like, oh, and that's sleep aids are great, like I said, for a short period of time. But when you're taking one and then it doesn't work, so then you start adding
Yeah.
THC gummies and all the things on top of it, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
The audience can't see, but I got my hand raised like that. I've done like I'm like in constant battle with sleep, and I say battle
Oh
in the most compassionate way, of course, but because I'm not really fighting it, because it's a fight you can't win. But
no.
I'm in this really weird loop. Like lately, I've been sleeping really amazingly. Like I'll be like, oh my god, I got like great sleep. The next night, horrible sleep. Next night, amazing sleep. Next night, horrible sleep. I'm like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, I am such a weird loop. But I've met other people that have these loops like that too. So I feel
Yes.
like I'm not alone there.
You're not. And that's the one thing I like to talk to my clients about. I'm like, if you've had 2 nights of crappy sleep, then please take something. Like, because after that, it's just no. You need to have a reset button and do whatever is necessary.
Right.
Like, so at least you're getting every other night.
Hey, I got 50%. I can only go, hopefully I can only go up from there. So tell me about your
Mhm.
community Reiki and healing circle. That sounds
Yes.
really interesting. What happens there? Who goes to
Yeah.
those? And what do you do?
Yeah. What do I do? So, part of the programs that I do with my clients is kind of exposing them to different healing modalities of things that were very helpful to me. Um, and Reiki was something that I started actually pretty late in survivorship. I'm going to say, let's say in the past 6 years. So very late, right? Um, And it came about because I just was doing a lot of work with just healing like ancestral stuff, which, that's a whole nother just topic for another day. But I got real curious about that and started thinking, okay, well, Reiki can help me kind of at an energetic level, kind of change some of this so that I can continue to do this healing work on myself. And so I started doing some private Reiki with a yoga teacher that I have here locally. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I started doing some group Reiki with like a restorative yoga class that would have like Reiki thrown in. And it was just like, oh my gosh, everybody needs to experience this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then um, the my Reiki teacher, she um was like when we started connecting, and she is a cancer survivor too, and she was like, do you know, like, these big cancer centers in this country offer Reiki, like, to people while they're in treatment and all that. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it's like there's actually been research, it's like been proven. And I was like, well, I don't even care if it's been proven because I know it works, like I've experienced it, right? So I was like, "Okay, I wanna do this, like, I wanna learn this." And she's like, "Okay." And so I learned it. Um, it's not an in-depth thing, but it is, you have to spend time on it every day. It's not like something that you can forget about, or at least that's
Mm-hmm.
how I view it. Um, so immediately, once I got the level 2 certification for Reiki, I could start doing distance Reiki. So, which most of my clients, I have no local clients right now. They're all around the country. And I was like, okay, so I started offering it to my clients, like my groups. I'm like, all right, like I want to start doing this. And everybody was like, yes, please, let's do this. And
Mm.
then the feedback I was getting was, oh my gosh, I've never slept so good in like
Mm.
months. Like the pain, because unfortunately, a lot of the medications that women have to take after breast cancer are to stop hormone production, right? So you have a lot of joint pain and hot flashes and it's just ick. It's just ick. That's like the one thing. They're
Yeah.
like, my joint pain is lessened. I'm not having as many hot flashes. And it was just like, okay, I'm glad that I'm helping my clients, which is great. But it's like more people need to experience this. Again, not everybody's going to have a health coach that's going to also do Reiki. So like, how can I offer this to the community? So I just started, advertising it on social media and, on my email list so we meet once a week, and it starts with a Reiki session. Everybody's just chilling out in their own home, in their own space with their cameras off, on. I don't care. Um, and each person is receiving Reiki, but then also you've got the group energy, so to speak,
Mm.
right? Of all of these women who are experiencing similar things. And it's been amazing. It's been, what's the word? Unexpected, I think, for
Mm.
myself too, because it kind of just was like, oh, I'm just gonna do this. This is just something I want to do. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, no, this is something I'm going to do, like to
Mm.
help women heal, like to
Mhm.
take it to another level. Um, and so yeah, so that's what
I
it's all
love it.
about.
I think that Reiki is definitely a strong spiritual modality, and especially when you have a group like that, the energy is amplified. I mean, even
Mm,
any of the Christians out there know that. I believe Jesus said that he made mention that when there are more than one people, there he is, and I think you can mean that
no.
literally, but in an energetic way. That the spiritual energy, when there's more than one person, is amplified. And so when you have a group like that with the same intention, the
Mhm.
same vibe as far as like they're giving off to each other of goodwill and positive intention and healing, that whatever is done is amplified. And so you get unexpected results and you get
Mm.
unexpected outcomes for the better, which is really cool. The worst that can happen is somebody is um, goes away feeling more peaceful and relaxed. And I mean, it's really like does no harm, only does benefit.
Mm,
Sometimes
that's
it's
the
really amazing
thing.
benefit.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, nothing bad can happen from this, right?
Right.
And I love what you said too, because, there's been studies that, have shown the whatever you want to call it, prayer, meditation, right? Sitting in silence, right? We can have all these words, but they're all similar. They all
Mhm.
have the similar effects on our brain, on our bodies, on our well-being. And this is too, this process of Reiki is very similar. Like it's only there to help.
Right.
Either there's nothing or you, right? Or sleeping better and everything is rainbows and butterflies, like
Well,
it's like,
I'll share this story, and then we'll get ready to wrap up here. I got a couple final questions for you at the end, but I'll share this story. When I was in massage therapy school, a lot of people don't know I was a massage therapist, but I was for a while. They showed me a video of this medicineless hospital in China. And
Oh.
it looked, I mean, when you looked at the video, it was a very old video, I think maybe even from the 80s. It was really old, but it showed these four like Qigong masters,
Oh.
healers, uh, delivering energy to this cancer mass. And it appeared as though, and they were using an ultrasound so they could see it in real time. And it appeared as though the cancer mass seemed to break up into, first in half and then into 1/4 and then 1/8. And just again, like highlighting this example of how energy is something we just still don't understand. We know we know anecdotally that it's real. We've all felt energy. We all felt when somebody, you go into a place and your hair stands on end and you don't know why. Something happened there. Well, you find out somebody just got in a huge argument or something like that. We all know it's real. So you can have the negative and you can have the positive. And I guess what I'm just saying here is that for all of you that are listening who think, who are curious about it, just know that there's lots and lots of stories that can be shared about how it's impacted people in a really positive way. But I always like to think of that because I want to believe that that is the power of, and I've heard other stories like it. So, but I'm always cautious. I'm like a skeptic for everything because I'm science based, but it looked pretty real to me. Saw the dang tumor seemed to
Right.
break up. So,
Well, and that's it, right? Yeah, you're like, I want to believe that's true,
hmm
right? I
hmm
mean, I do know also that, again, we need modern medicine to cure things, but I want
hmm
to believe that that kind of healing is possible.
yeah. I mean, at a
Yeah.
medicineless hospital where is actually no medicine other
Right.
than that energy, like that's like, I mean, in the West we couldn't conceive of such thing. What do you mean a
Right.
medicineless hospital? But in that hospital they had everybody. So like if you couldn't do the daily qigong exercises because you couldn't stand, you would do it seated. And if you couldn't do it seated,
Oh.
you'd do it lying in the bed. And if you couldn't do it lying
Mhm.
in the bed, you'd do it in your mind. And everybody did it at the same
Mm.
time every single day, right?
That's
So
amazing.
facilitating that group energy.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, what would you tell somebody who um, either just got diagnosed or, I mean, I think you work more primarily with women who are like who are already like
Mhm.
been through treatment,
Mhm.
I think, right?
Yeah.
I guess
Mhm.
somebody who's just starting out on their journey, how do you help them take that first step?
Yeah, I think, the advice that I would give to someone who was recently diagnosed, would be to, you know, people wanna help and they don't know how to help. Um, and a lot of people will help for the period of time when you are actively in treatment, and then treatment's done, and they think you're done and life is back to normal. So my
hmm
advice would be to have a few people in your back pocket who are gonna be available when things settle down. And whether that is to go for a walk or to go out to lunch or to go scream out in the woods or
Hmm.
right? Because people kinda disappear, and I had an amazing support network of friends and family. I am so lucky. I had, a different relative who came into town to take me to my chemos. I had somebody here for every surgery. I mean, it was amazing. But when the dust settles down, the cards stop coming in the mail, people stop sending you food, the support network kinda is like, "Oh, she's done," because that's kind of what you want, right? You want that. But that's when the like, for myself and most of the women I work with, that's when the struggle really starts. So, have a few things in your back pocket for then, whether it's the aunt who wants to come and help you, be like, "Hey, maybe, like, a month after my last radiation, you could come into town." Like, that might be helpful, and you guys could spend some time together or whatever it is. Like, I think it's to save some of those resources, the kind folks who wanna help you for after I mean, you're going to need help during too, don't get me wrong, but if you can have some after resources, it would be
Mm-hmm.
really helpful. And to I'm going to make this a two-part. The other thing is
Sure.
to have zero expectations of what life is going to be like after cancer. Some people would never talk about cancer. Like they won't share their diagnosis with anybody. They won't share the struggle with anybody. And oh my gosh, it makes me so sad to even talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that. But also, there are people who want to share their stories and want to see cancer. I hate this, but I'm going to say it like as a gift, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
as an experience to change your life for good.
Mm-hmm.
And these two things can coexist at the same time. And perhaps that's your experience. One day you feel one way and the next day you feel the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that is okay too. So save resources, feel the feels and work through everything, and then get yourself a good therapist to talk to.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah, brilliantly said. And it's obviously clear you've worked through so much of this process. And I mean, it's never over. It's never done. That's the thing that people might think that you're done at some point. It's never, I know. I mean, I'm not a cancer survivor, but I know that I've lived long enough to know that things don't just end, they just change. And so,
mm-hmm.
I'm really thankful that you exist in the world because I really do feel like the best healers, the best people, if I had a diagnosis of cancer, I would absolutely want somebody who's been there and done that. I literally would prioritize that person. It would put them so much higher up on my like short list because
Okay.
above all, I can get information from the internet. But what I
Yeah.
really want is someone like you who can listen, understands what I'm going through, and I know that you'd be compassionate with me. I know it for a fact. Even just talking to you right now, I know it for absolute truth. I would not have hesitate to put anybody who I knew had cancer right with you for support. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and really appreciate you being on the show. How can people get a hold of you? How could they be involved in your world?
Yeah. So I am on Instagram at Your Kick-Ass Life After Cancer.
Awesome name, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also I have a website, which is coach is www.coachbrynn, and that's BRYNN, and then the letter B.com. And there's information on there. And then, I do a Wellness Wednesday series. I've kind of had it on hold the past few months because it's just been hectic. But I have a lot of those Instagram live videos on my Instagram page. And, that's kind of the way to see more about how I work with my clients, but also this amazing network of other survivors who do other really cool stuff out there in my realm of healing, that are out there too. And we all work together as a team and share clients. And it's just, yeah, it's really amazing. So I highly recommend you go out there and check out that stuff.
That was my favorite part of looking at your Instagram, was looking at those Wellness Wednesdays, those longer form videos, and just like hearing the conversation that was being had. I got a sense for who you were pretty good. I think anybody who watched those would get to see what kind of person you are, and just filled with heart. And I just can't say enough. I'm just blessed to have you had on this podcast. So
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Your words mean so much to me because sometimes, being an entrepreneur, you sometimes you wonder
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is
Is there anybody out there? And honestly, and I gotta say too, like, finding people, and I love what you just said, and I know we're going over because that was we're almost trying to wrap up here, but she got me on a kick when you said finding like people that support you. And it's so rare if you can find somebody who really sees you and cares about you. This world is filled with so many distractions. And if you can find a person or a couple few people that do, man, lock on to their elbows and don't let go.
Yeah, for sure. That's it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, Brynn. Hope you have a good rest of your evening and look forward to the release of this episode and hope the listeners enjoyed it as much as I did. Take care.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You've been listening to the Wellness in Asheville podcast. To learn more about Brynn Barale and her work with cancer survivors through Wildflower Health Coaching, visit www.wildflowerhealthcoaching.com. To join her weekly online community Reiki and Healing Circle, check the link in our show notes or follow her on Instagram at Your Kickass Life After Cancer. You can catch the next episode while on your way up to visit Mount Mitchell or cruising down I-26 or on your way to catch a nice sunset view over at the Black Balsam Knob. You can check out more Asheville wellness news and events and join our newsletter at bewellasheville.com. Thank you for being the best part of our wellness community. And until next time, be well.